I've spent some time in creative lately, and I've created another prototype for a large-scale wart farm, and I wanted to make this one as redstone friendly as possible, so I'm making use of minecarts and rails, and I don't really want to use anything else because this seems to be the most efficient way rather than a bunch of observers or pistons or anything like that. I don't really want to spend that much time trying to place down a bunch of pistons or even wasting those resources. But I'm having a few problems with this, like replanting, and then I think this 8 wide design is just bad fundamental work design, so maybe a 10 wide would be better with two solid blocks in between here. So I could use a fortune tool on this as well, that would even increase the rates better, but right now I do have three key components that work. I've got the collection start and end right here. It'll all cycle through to here to restack, and then I have the unloading over here, which is fantastic with how it works. So it would unload all the items over here into a water stream or maybe a shulker box loader or something. I don't really know quite yet what the rates of this thing are other than ridiculous. Per slice is just ridiculous. As you can see, I planted some after I AFK'd here for a little bit, and there are some spots that aren't getting replanted with this current design. So there are some flaws with this design, but I think I have enough of the key components working here that I want to show this off as a prototype. So first of all, these carts need to be dropped at a very specific time, and they have to be dropped onto a slanted rail. They cannot be solid because of what I'm trying to do back here. So if I press this button, all these carts are going to go off in a very beautiful little pattern. Maybe. There we go. Okay, they're all gone. I lagged a little bit there. But when they come back over here, they'll stack in just about the same way, which is just as awesome. And then all the items would get drained pretty quickly. I'm thinking it might be best to have a couple minecarts down below these rather than hoppers because of the speed hoppers pull from, so that I could have these sit here for 15, 20, 30 seconds or something like that. I would need to test that. And then all I have to do is with this neat little contraption I built here, which is just a binary counter, it'll count to 4, and it'll stop the war block or the thing from going forever. So as soon as it powers that down, it's going to grab the block away, and it can't fire the redstone circuit anymore, which is awesome. And the last part I've got here is just the collection, and this is just perfectly timed with everything here. And it is very beautiful seeing this work. So I think that all of the fundamentals here, the redstone that I have back here, as well as the redstone over here, is very, very good. But my main problem and my main concern right now is growth range and replanting speed. Both of those seem to be very, very broken right now and very, very hard to do. I should only need to take 2 passes back and forth with this, and I think I'm taking about 4. So 2 is the goal, is to plant 2 rows each time about as efficiently as I can, but I think the player is moving too fast when I'm with the setup I've got now because I wanted everything pretty symmetrical for stacking, but it seems that that's not a great idea. I want to expand this as much as I can, both vertically and on the X and Z. I want to make this farm really as big as I can, just because I have the ability with the amount of soul sand I have right now. I've got many, many, many boxes of soul sand, and I will have many more very soon. And I think that that's a great thing to have, is just a giant wart farm out in the middle of nowhere. And it would be nice to have a giant building around this, and just it would be a very massive build as well. So I want to test the rates on this. I think I'm getting around 8,000-9,000 per full 8 blocks, somewhere around there. It's really ridiculous, and I don't even think I'm using a fortune tool with that. So it's pretty efficient for what I'd like to do, and I have no point in making this other than I can. And I think that's a really good reason to build it, is just because I can. It's beautiful. And the clock that is over there at the end is actually right here as well, just designed a little bit differently. So instead of the blocks being facing up, this is part of the binary counter here, and then whenever this receives a 4th signal, this will receive a 2nd signal and then a 4th signal. The 2nd signal will pull it to the block. The 4th signal will send it back here to stop it, which will it'll actually activate this piston right here. I had to update this when 1.16 redstone came out, so it's a little bit broken, but this is a very small clock to pay the price. So it's really, really nice. I'm going to see what I can do with this, but I really want to get a prototype video out because this kind of stuff is just ridiculously fun to do. And I don't know why I even do this anymore, but yeah, I'm going to see what I can do to redesign this and make this just I'm not going to really scale it. I think the scale is already obvious with the... Um, there's already enough scaled size. You can see that this is going to scale pretty easy, as well as all the redstone between here is pretty easy. I'm making use of both target blocks and other things because I have to make sure that I'm only firing the right side of this, just due to the way all the redstone is. So I had to be very delicate with the way I use the redstone. And there's just a little bit of... It's basically mostly slime work and very little redstone. I could probably update this to something else, but this works pretty fantastically for what I've got. And I don't really remember how much of this works right now. So it's pretty awesome. I like the way this redstone works. And I'm trying to use as few honey blocks as possible. So I think that if I scale this out and put that wall between there, I would have the 2 blocks of room I would need. But I would still probably send both sides out at the same time or intermittently between these two. But I want to find a better way with the rail system as well. So yeah, there's a lot that's possible here. But again, I don't want to put the player in a minecart hitting the same single strip of soul sand. I think that that's very slow and very boring. So I also have to figure out the replanting method, because as everything is per strip, I would probably want to give the player the ability to get turned around or turn around on their own after they're here for a certain amount of time and just clear the strip out. And clearing the strip out and replanting would be just a few minutes. But still, this is mostly manual work right now, even though you're in a minecart. So yeah, this is still... There's a long way to go with this, and this will be the first of probably 3 or 4 videos I want to do about this. I'll see where I can take this in the future.